Again, what we're looking at today is our tech tips. So let me go ahead and on our Church Windows website, there's always a link here to tech tips. We do send an email to the email we have on file for your church, letting you know that tech tips are available, and the email has a link to those as well. But if you're not sure who gets those, or you've never seen an email reminding you of tech tips, well, you can call in and check with the ladies up front and see what email we have on file. Or you can go to our website, and if you look along the left, let me get my highlighting tool here. If you look along the left within Church Windows Support, just circled the whole thing. I'm not very good circling with my mouse. Within there we have a link to the Tech Tips page. So if I go ahead and get my clicking tool back here, if I click on Tech Tips Newsletter, that opens up the page where we post all our tech tips. Now they do only go back to, let's see, July of 2014, so we don't keep them up forever. But the most recent one is always at the top. So here we have October 2016. I'm going to go ahead and click on Download Now, and that just opens up the tech tips in a nice PDF format. You can print that or just view it on the screen. We're just going to go ahead and go through these. I'm not going to read word for word everything on here, but let's look at all the different topics, and we'll go into some detail about each one. First, in accounting, if you did not know, you can go ahead and open a new year at any time. Right now, you may have your budget for the following year, and you might want to start working on getting that in, or maybe you're going to do a new chart of accounts and you want to go ahead and start on that before January. You can open a new year at any time. Let me show you how to do that. We're going to go ahead. I already have accounting open, so I'll click highlight down here and click on accounting. I open that. I save some time by on the opening screen just clicking on accounting. That opens the accounting program. We can see right now we're in January through December of 2016. Let's say I want to go ahead and open the 2017 year so I can start putting my budget in. I just go up to Special Functions, Manage Years, and I choose Set Up New Accounting Year. This window here, we can see it defaults to create my following year, or I could create prior years. We're today, though, discussing opening the new year. I could opt to copy over my chart of accounts and copy the budgets as well, or if I want the budget set to 0, I can uncheck that and it would set everything to 0 for the following year. We're going to go ahead and copy them. Or if you want to make a brand new chart of accounts, you could click on Create Empty Chart of Accounts. If I were to do that, it would open up with the Account Setup Wizard where I'd go through making a new chart of accounts and entering all my accounts. For today, I'm going to show you how to just copy over my existing chart of accounts. So I just click OK. It tells me it's creating the new year, and ta-da! Here we go. January to December 2017 is showing on the screen. Well, it's October, so chances are you'll probably be entering some more things. So to go to my prior year, I just go up to Special Functions, Manage Years, change to another existing accounting year, and if I look at the list here, I can see all my accounting years, and I can choose 2016 and say OK. And now we see upper right here, January to December 2016. So with that 2017 year open, I'm going to keep entering the final transactions for 2016, but what I want to make sure I do is, since I'm entering things in 16 and I've already opened 17, in 17, if you go back into prior years and you make changes, then you want to make sure you go up to Special Functions, Manage Years, and you update beginning balances. And that's going to bring those changes forward into your new year and the beginning balances for 2017. When you initially open a new year, it carries all your end balances forward except for your income and expense accounts, so start at 0. But it carries those end balances forward to be the beginning balances. But after that, if you go back in prior years and you make changes, you have to go into that year, the year after that one, and update beginning balances to bring those changes forward. If we go back to our tech tips here, it does discuss here how if you're working between the years, you want to update beginning balances. Now, if you add a new account to your prior year, with the next year already open. It will show in the new year if you're on the most current version. It didn't in some of the prior versions. But if you post money to that in 2016, then you do need to update beginning balances to bring that forward. And again, you can open that new year at any time. And in that new year, also show you here, I could go up to budgets and budget. Remember, I opted to have it copy budgets over, so if I click on an account that I budgeted, we see it did carry that budget forward, but I could easily set amounts to 0 and put in new budgets. Let me look back here. If you want more help on opening a new year, there is a link here to the New Year Prep and Help, and if I click on that, takes you right to our New Year Prep and Help page where there's all kinds of short documents, long documents, movies to show you in the different modules what you need to do. So that is always available if you're on a fiscal year and you need to open a year. You're not January to December. If you look under support, right in the middle here, there's always a link to New Year Prep and Help. That page is always available to you. All right, let me hit back here. Oops, and go back to our tech tips. And let's take a look at the next topic, payroll. Preparing now for the end of year payroll filing. Suzanne helped a lot with this. She's our accountant, and I don't do a lot of payroll calls, but as the writer of tech tips, techs and support staff here tell me, I think this needs to go in or that. And Suzanne said this is the time of year that we need to remind you about some things with payroll. Deadlines for filing the W-2s have changed. In January, or starting in 2017, the W-2 and the 1099 need to be submitted by January 31st, and that's regardless of whether you're doing paper or electronic filing. That's a lot earlier than it used to be. In the past, you had to give the W-2s and 1099s to the recipients by the end of January. But in the past, you weren't required to submit those to Social Security until February. For paper forms, March 31st for e-filing. That has changed. So do know that you need to do that a lot sooner than in prior years. And if you're going to file electronically and you need a PIN, you need to go ahead and make sure you file for that PIN. It does take 6 weeks, about 6 weeks before you can use that number. Now it says instructions here, that is not clickable. What you can do if you need more help with that is if you go to our blog, which you can access under support. The last item is blog. If I go to support blog and type in Nelco, first thing that comes up is a document that tells you how to apply for a PIN with the Nelco Wage Filer e-filing service. If I click on that, it brings up a great document that shows you exactly where to go within the payroll program to the Manage Wage Filer user accounts and the Wage Filer Wizard and apply for that PIN number so you can do your electronic filing. So again, that document is available. Whoops, I think I closed the tech tip section. Let me bring those back up. Go back to page 2 here. That's available. If you just go to our blog and type in the word Nelco, that document's available that shows you how to file for that PIN. Now, another thing that can help you for the end of the year is checking your W-2s now. If you go into payroll, I forgot to open that. Let me open that up. All right, if we go into payroll, we can go to reports and tax reports and take a look at our W-2s and our 1099 forms. And you'll want to, if we go back to the tech tips, oops, come back here. Here we go. We have a list of bulleted things that you want to check on those W-2s. Now, when you print the informational copies, they will be the 2016 information. It will print on a form that says 2015. We can't update those to 2016 until the IRS updates those. And once we have that, then you'll get an update in December for payroll that will update that form to say 2016. However, the informational will say 2015, and you'll want to take a look at the different bulleted points here and inspect your forms and see if all these things have been met or if you need to correct or check out any of those items. All right, moving on to the next topic, importing donations. If you weren't aware, if you are using donations, not the older contribution module, but the donation module, let me get a sip of coffee. Hold on one moment. Okay, in donations, if you weren't aware, you can easily import donations into the donations module. That would be from a variety of different online giving companies. If we go to donations and click on import donations, you'll see the list of the different companies that automatically we have some programming in church windows to line up with those programs. However, if you're using a different online giving company than one in the list, go ahead and click on text file and take a look at this screen. This indicates for you exactly what the file from an online giving company needs to contain and the type file it should be to be able to import that into church windows. It needs to be a text file that's either CSV, comma separated value, or tab separated or tab delimited, and it needs to have these 4 fields. Then it has to be in the first row as column headers or column names. It needs to have a date field, a giver field, the amount, and account field. And if it has those, if it's a text file that's comma or tab delimited, and it meets those requirements of having those 4 fields, then you can import that into church windows. First, you would match up here whatever they call the date field. You would type that specifically in here, and the same for each of these other items. You'd indicate whether it's comma or tab delimited, and then you would be able to import that file into church windows with just a few clicks. Here, let me just fill in date. I'm just going to make these up real quick so we can look at the other tabs. Once you've chosen these and you import a file in, well, first you click select import file to bring it in, and the first time you bring it in, it's going to see unmatched items. It won't know, church windows doesn't know that 1234 as a giver ID with that company is Sue Jones. So you'll be matching up your giver names in church windows with whatever ID the company gives it, and then the same for your giving accounts. And anytime you import a new batch in that has people that haven't been matched in a previous import, then you might have to do some matching each time. But once they are matched up, then it should just be a few clicks to get that information into church windows. So if you don't use one of the 6 companies listed here for importing donations in, check with your online giving company if you do online giving. If you don't, then you just enter as normal. But if you use an online giving company other than the ones in the list, click on text file and take a look here and see if the company you use meets these requirements. And if so, you can really easily import those donations into church windows. All right, on the 3rd page of the tech tips, whoops, let me move down here. We have a little blurb about the DPI settings on your computer. Now sometimes if your display settings, I think it's dots per inch, it's the pixels that show on your screen, it's different from your resolution. If you change your DPI to something other than the default of 100% smaller, that can cause things to sometimes not show properly in church windows. On a window, there might not be an OK and cancel button, or something might not show that normally should show on a church Windows screen. Now the tech tips, because most people are on Windows 10 now, It tells you how to find this in Windows 10. However, the computer I'm using here in the front office, I believe is Windows 7 maybe. So it's a little different on this computer. I right-click anywhere on my desktop and I can choose Personalize. And on the Personalize window, lower left, I can click Display. And that shows me my DPI settings. And we can see here it is set to the smaller of 100% default. If it's set to medium or larger on this screen, then you could have issues with things not displaying properly in church windows. So if you use Windows 7, here's how you find that, and you just change this to smaller and click Apply. Sometimes it does require that you restart your computer. If we look at the tech tips, it tells you about Windows 10. In Windows 10, you could click your little Windows icon, and where it says search, you would just type in DPI. And then you could go ahead and click on that, and it takes me right to DPI. In Windows 10, it's not the little dots, but there's a slider bar. And if you move that bar, you should be able to set it to 100%. You might have to click on advanced options, or I know on my laptop I had to unlock. I had my display settings locked, so I had to click unlock to allow me to move that slider bar. If you can't figure out whether your DPI is set correctly and you are having some display issues where things are not showing properly in church windows, give us a call and one of the installer error techs can help you take a look and see if your DPI needs to be changed to the default of smaller. Although I believe in the most current version of church windows they have done something, so if you've changed your DPI to something other than smaller, it should not affect things. But if you're worried that your DPI is affecting how you view things, give us a call and we can help you take a look at that. Last but not least, we include this in every tech tip at the very end because it's something really important. Backing up your data. If you've never made a backup of your data, then stop and make a backup today. And make a backup on more than just the desktop of your computer. A backup of church windows is different than making a backup on like Carbonite or a program that backs up your entire computer. Church Windows actually has a backup tool built into the program, and we recommend backup your data as often as you don't want to lose your data. And as I was saying, don't just back up to your computer desktop. Also, back up to a thumb drive or flash drive, something you can carry out of the church. If your computer gets a virus or suddenly crashes and your backup was on the desktop, then it's not going to do you any good. If you click here, more information regarding a backup. That brings up a help file where I can click right here on System Backup. And that takes you to a document that tells you more about why you would want to back up, and please, please, please protect yourself. Make sure you back up your data. We hate when we get a call and the computer has been destroyed or caught a virus and the church has no backup of their data. We can't help you restore if you don't make a backup. To make a backup, it's really easy. We just go to Administration and Backup. Anybody can make a backup. You can restrict who can restore data, but anybody can make a backup. We can choose what to back up, and then you can click on Browse. You can back up to your desktop. If you have a flash drive you've plugged in, then you'd want to scroll down and find your flash drive. I don't have one in here. So I'll just show you how to do it to the desktop. I just say OK, and then Start Backup. It should be pretty quick. Now we have all kinds of different layouts for directories, all kinds of check layouts, all kinds of different things here that you probably don't have. So this is going to be a huge file. Yours will be much smaller. We're going to have probably at least 1,000 files backed up. Yours is probably going to be maybe double digits, probably single digits. So if you're watching how many files this backs up, and you don't be alarmed when yours is much smaller. Yeah, 121,000. So yeah, we have a lot of different layouts stored here. 749 of 749. Let me go ahead and close out of here and close Church Windows, and I'll show you on the desktop now. We have a new backup, CWMSDA, backed up today at 2:21 p.m. So it's that easy to make a backup. It doesn't take long. Backup as often as you don't want to have to re-enter your data. If you're putting new things in every day, make a backup every day. Some churches have even a folder for each day of the week and put a new backup in each week for each day. All right. Well, that is the end of what I wanted to show you for the tech tips. I'm sorry I went over by 2 minutes. Are there any questions? And you're welcome. Somebody already said thanks for the presentation. You're very welcome. Are there any questions about what we looked at in the tech tips today? Kind of felt like I whirled through those, but that was a lot to cover in 20 minutes. Now again, if you joined late, the tech tips are always available on our website. Under support along the left, fourth thing down here is tech tip newsletter. If I click on that, it takes me right to the page where the most current tech tip is always up at the top. And you can even go and preview older ones as well if you'd like. All right, well, if you're in the middle of typing a question, go ahead and hit enter. So I am alerted that you have a question, and then you can keep typing the rest of it. I don't want to end the class while you're in mid-typing. All right, well, I'm not seeing any questions. Somebody asked, are other webinars available? Yes, if you, under Church Windows Training, click on Free Online Webinars. That takes you to the page where you can see the most current offerings. November is not up yet, so I don't know what topics are available for November, but there's always new topics being added. You can also, if you look below at the bottom here, you can visit our Church Windows YouTube channel. And webinars we've done in the past are put up here. So if you missed a webinar, you ask about membership labels from October 10th. That probably is up here. Let's see if we go to videos on our YouTube and added newest. Here's label designer. I'm not sure what day that was done, but that's probably the one you're talking about. But here you can click on the little search, little magnifying glass, and type in labels. And all the different videos we have regarding labels will pop up. So there's quite a few videos there on labels. Any other questions? Again, we're on our, if you just go to YouTube and search for Church Windows, you'll see we're the third one here. There's our Church Windows logo, and if you click on that, it takes you right to the page where you can search through these. If I click on videos here, it's showing me the newest added up at the top. So all the videos, once they're standardized, we are adding those to our YouTube channel. So I think whichever one you're looking for, Linda, should be up on YouTube by now if it was done on the 10th. Any other questions? And you're very welcome. All right, I don't see any other questions coming in, so I'm going to go ahead and close our webinar for today. Do feel free to take a look on the free webinar page at what's coming up and sign up for whatever you'd like. They're all free. Or take a look at the YouTube recorded ones, and you might find something in there and not have to wait for a live one. Thanks again for attending, and everybody have a great day. Bye.